KMOX Storm Center update. This weather, I do not advise driving in this whatsoever. I just did just to get downtown so that we could do the show here together in studio. It is, you have to go at a crawl, really, really slow pace if you absolutely must be out, but I would not. The snow-covered highways, snow-covered roads, and the problem is the ice that hit before that. So the freezing rain, and anybody who's scraped off their car this morning would know that it is a sheet of ice underneath that snow. So it's very, very difficult to get that off your car. Just think about what all these roads have underneath this snow, just caked with ice and, that packed in freezing rain and sleet and snow all mixed together and then freezing on top of that. It's pretty rough out there. So stay in, enjoy sports on a Sunday morning. We'll be with you until noon today, and then we have football today. There's football all weekend. A couple of games yesterday, and then football later today. We'll have the Chiefs and the Broncos today. Once upon a time, I picked the Cincinnati Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. I think I did that on this show, Drew. I had the Bengals taking on the Lions in the Super Bowl. Well, that's still alive, although it doesn't seem likely. The Bengals won yesterday, 19-17 over the Steelers. When they did that last night, they were able to get themselves into a position of hope today. They have to hope that the Chiefs beat the Broncos. And while that looked like a foregone conclusion for much of the year, now that the Chiefs have wrapped up the home field advantage throughout the playoffs in the AFC, they don't have anything else to play for. So they'll be resting Patrick Mahomes and company today. We'll see how many they end up resting. But because of that, the Broncos are big favorites in this game today, and they well should be. So my pick of the Bengals going to the Super Bowl looks to be dead, but we'll see. The Broncos are an 11-point favorite today over the Chiefs, and that game is in Denver. Chiefs barely got out there. They had to it was really a tricky situation that they ran into yesterday because they're at KCI, Kansas City International Airport, and they were stranded on the tarmac for 4 hours. That ice storm, which started in Kansas City and turned into snow, which is exactly what we've seen here, had them on the tarmac. Here's what happened. They tried to move the flight up as the weather bared down on them, but then the plane they were expected to use was delayed in arriving. So they had to stick with a mid-afternoon departure, and wouldn't you know it, that's exactly when the weather hit. As soon as they got on the plane, just before they took off, airport officials announced that all flight operations were suspended due to rapid ice accumulation. A break between the line of ice and the arrival of the snow allowed enough time for them to de-ice the plane, clear the one runway. They got the Chiefs off the ground and got them to Denver. And so they'll be taking on the Broncos today. We'll have the game at 3:25, 2 o'clock pregame here on KMOX. And again, you have to, if you're a Bengals fan, hope that the Chiefs can pull off the upset. And on the other side, while you're done with that, you got to keep your eye on Miami and the Jets because the Bengals need the Dolphins to lose as well, or at least tie the Jets today. That game, a little more reasonable. That game is a pick 'em, and I could see the Jets winning that just with a little pride, as bad as they've been all year, see if they can walk away with a win. But that Broncos game is going to be tricky for any Bengals fans moving forward. And then the Ravens yesterday hammered Cleveland 35-10, so they take charge of the AFC North. They are the division champions in the AFC North. So everything is settled right now except for this Denver, Miami, Cincinnati situation. Everybody else has either made the playoffs or have been eliminated. And in the AFC, we're going to find out the champion of the South. Tampa Bay has a 9-7 record, and Atlanta is 8-8. And those two teams are playing today. Tampa Bay is home against New Orleans, and the Atlanta Falcons, who have had an interesting year. They've had issues and injuries, but they have stayed alive. They're 8-8. They will host the Carolina Panthers. So we'll watch that for you as a game separates the two of them. Everybody else has been eliminated or has advanced. The West, the Rams, they're playing pretty well right now. They're 10-6. The North, it's Detroit and Minnesota with the showdown later today. The winner of that game gets into the NFC catbird seat. They will be hosting all games in the NFC playoffs, and that's going to be some fun game tonight. That is a 7:20 kickoff, Minnesota at Detroit. That is a fire in the fireplace, adult beverage in hand, and watching that awesome matchup tonight between Minnesota and Detroit. I love when the season comes down to something like that. Detroit, surprisingly, is a favorite in this one. Now, they are playing at home, but they are all kinds of banged up. I mean, their defense is a mess. They have starters out. They have backups and third stringers even trying to fill those spots. People walking off the street into a Detroit uniform to try to help them out. They're 2.5-point favorites against the Vikings tonight, but that's a great one. 14-2 teams, a pair of them going head-to-head, and the winner will get themselves home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. Detroit has the tiebreaker because they beat Minnesota earlier this year. So if it were to end in a tie, then Detroit would take it, in case you're curious. Elsewhere in the NFC, Green Bay made it. I think they're sneaky good. Watch out for them now. We'll see who they're matched up with. Washington is in. I think they're very hot right now. They've won 4 in a row, and I love their quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Just love him. He is fun to watch, and I think that they will be a tough team. And, of course, Philadelphia Eagles, who are 13-3. Don't forget about them, the champions of the NFC East. So it should be a really good playoff. Looking forward to it. The college football playoff did not go as expected, did it? I think a lot of people really like Georgia, especially the SEC nation. And the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I told you, Drew, that they were going to win that game. How did I do on my picks? Let's see. I had Notre Dame, so I got that right. I had Arizona State and the points, so I got that right. I had Oregon. Yeah, I took Oregon. It was hard to pick against the number 1 team in the nation, so I got that wrong, but I was, as an Indiana fan, kind of happy about it. Ohio State and Notre Dame made us look really good. And, that's good. And then Penn State, I missed on that one. I thought Boise State would cover the spread, and they didn't. So I went 2-2 again on the college football playoff. I'm really looking forward to. I'll give you our chances here on our picks coming up on the college football playoff when I do the NFL picks. Somebody on Twitter just said, "Why are you counting out Carson Wentz today? Wentz will go wild today." No, I got it. I mean, I understand. But remember, the Chiefs don't need this. It is not one player. It is an entire team, and Denver absolutely needs it. I mean, they have to win to get in. So, they need to win. Let's just put it that way. When you tell an NFL team at home that they need to win and get into the playoffs, they're not going to mess around. So I just find it highly unlikely. I'm not counting out any particular player. I'm counting out the Kansas City Chiefs team chances to win this game. Now, if they do, I had the Bengals going to the Super Bowl. So of course I'd be happy. And then I'd be rooting for the Jets to pull it off because I that's the team I wanted to see. I want to see the Bengals in there. I love that team. Love the look of that team. And then college basketball, we're going to hear from Josh Schertz coming up at 10:30, but I'm going to run down in the next segment all of college basketball. Of course, we're going to go heavy into hockey this hour at 10:45. We're going to have John Mozeliak, the Cardinals president of baseball operations. He is back on the show, 11:30, and we'll get into all the things that are still in front of him and the Cardinals in this offseason. And then at 11:45, as we always do, we wrap things with Bernie Miklasz, the former Post-Dispatch columnist, the Missouri Sports Hall of Famer, will be with us here on KMOX. Really fun show lined up. A lot of great things going on in sports right now, and we will concentrate on it. But right now, it's time to check the weather with a Storm Center update.
From the KMOX Storm Center, we do have increasing snow totals and visibility problems for certain in the city. A couple of inches have already fallen, but the roads are treacherous. We have reports of emergency vehicles at I-270 southbound past Dorset. The right 2 lanes are closed. Also, reports that a tractor-trailer slid off 64 on the Illinois side of the Poplar Street Bridge. We get more now from Dallas Thompson with the Missouri Highway Patrol.
So we've had a light volume of traffic this morning. We just hope people continue to stay home today and just stay warm, stay safe. If you do have to get out, we understand there's emergencies, things that we have to do, but just plan ahead. Make sure we check that MoDOT traveler map for road conditions. And you can also follow the Highway Patrol Troop C on our X accounts. We're going to try to keep that updated as much as we can for serious issues and road closures.
The winter storm warning is in effect until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Totals could range from 3 to 10, even a foot in some places. Temperatures definitely not getting out of the 20s. The high today, 26, overnight 19, tomorrow 27. The snow should be ending around midnight tonight. Right now we have 25 degrees with some heavy snow downtown at the Arch. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
In the U.S., there are about 60 million adults 65 and older. And last year, nearly 1 million of them were hospitalized due to flu, COVID, or RSV. That's nearly 1 million people who planned to go visit family or see friends, but ended up in the hospital instead. So get this season's vaccines and don't let flu, COVID, or RSV make you just another number.
Risk less. Do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Who you choose to sell your St. Louis area home matters, especially in this ever-changing market. We all know a few realtors, but I only recommend one. This is Debbie Monterey, and for the past several years, I've gotten to know Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's different, guaranteeing to sell your home at your agreed-to price, or Gloria will buy it herself. When selling your home, you want the most money and the least hassle, and that's exactly what you get with Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. For example, after 6 months, 2 separate agents failed to sell the Wheeler family's home. With no more time to waste, they decided to call Gloria Liu. Within a few days, Gloria was able to get them multiple offers and sold their home at nearly 99% of listing price because Gloria already had the buyers. The agent you choose to sell your home really matters. 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
From snowy downtown St. Louis, welcome back to the show. We will be here until noon today. Then we'll get to the Chiefs and the Broncos at 2 o'clock for the pregame today, a 3:25 kickoff. Before that, big show today, Bernie Miklasz at 11:45, John Mozeliak at 11:30. Boy, people are still pretty mean towards John Mozeliak. I mean, this guy on Twitter said, and I understand like the anger. I understand fans and they get angry, but some of the stuff is just kind of, like Craig said on Twitter, why do you still have John Moe on? Because he's the president of baseball operations and he runs the St. Louis Cardinals, and we ask questions about what they're doing. Second question, and how do you get him to interrupt his winter slumber to do your show? Passive aggressive from Craig. Then he gets right to the point. Could you ask him why he's ruined the Cardinals franchise? This is the kind of stuff that you see on Twitter. It's just kind of silly, to be honest. I mean, we all know that's not the case. The Cardinals have had a lot of things that have gone awry since they were in the World Series in 2013, and it has been a slow decline in the player development system, and that is exactly what they are trying to fix. But I love our fans, I'll tell you that, even the negative ones. I call them passionate. They might be negative, but they're passionate. Let me tell you about a passionate college basketball conference. That is the SEC. And I may poke fun at the SEC football fans, and I have. I didn't really do it much today, but I did over the last couple of weeks. But they have a legitimate college basketball league. I mean, it is the real deal. I watched Tennessee destroy Arkansas yesterday. And by the way, Arkansas is good, and Tennessee made them look like a high school team. Chaz Lanier, 29 points. He's just one of many. Now, this Igor Milicic is something else. He had 13 points and 18 rebounds. They just score, they defend, they do everything from everywhere better than the other team, and they're undefeated. Volunteers are 14-0. They beat Arkansas 76-52. Number one team in the country now has a tie for the best start to a season in program history, the 1922-23 team. You got to go back over 100 years to get the last time the Volunteers were 14-0. They were unbelievable. In the first half, they out-rebounded Arkansas 27-12. They finished the game with a 51-29 edge in rebounds. Number one team in the country, Tennessee, beat Arkansas 76-52. The number two team in the country is also from the SEC. They are Auburn, and they hammered Missouri 84-68. It wasn't that close. Johnny Broom scored 24 points and had 7 rebounds, and he swept away the Tigers. How about that? 4 blocks. 13-1 for Auburn, 10 of 21 from three-point range. They are a really good team. They rebound the heck out of the ball, too, and they defend, and they got the victory. The number 5 team in the country is also from the SEC. They are Alabama, and they crushed Oklahoma, 107-79. Oklahoma was the 12th-ranked team in the country, unbeaten, 107-79. See you later. Alabama, the 5th-ranked team in the country, smokes them. And the number 6 team in the country is from the SEC. They are Florida. They were unbeaten until number 10, Kentucky, also from the SEC, dropped the hammer on them. A great game, but they score 106 points, and they win at 106-100. Kobe Bray scored 23 points and hit 7 threes off the bench for Kentucky as they win at home over Florida, 106-100. So there's only one unbeaten team left, and that's Tennessee, the number one team in the nation. By the way, there are other good teams in the SEC. Texas A&M is ranked 13th in the country. They looked very good. They beat Texas 80-60. The number 17 team in the country is Mississippi State. They crushed South Carolina 85-50. They look awesome. I mean, they absolutely dominate defensive. Very, very physical team. Number 24 is Ole Miss. They beat Georgia 63-51. You can sense the trend here. Those low scores on the other end. These teams defend. Vanderbilt beat LSU 80-72, with the exception of that Kentucky Florida game. These are some very good defensive performances by these teams. And so if you're in the SEC like Missouri, and they went 0-18 in the league last year, but it was a different kind of thing that had some injuries, did not have a very good roster, and it all kind of fell apart. Well, they have a good roster now, and they still may finish with only 7 wins in the league. I mean, this is going to be a very difficult climb for them. I believe about a dozen SEC teams will get into the NCAA tournament or will be considered. That's how good this league is and how much it should be recognized. And yes, I know that Iowa State is 3. I know that Duke is 4. And Kansas is 7, although they're going to fall. I think they're not the same Kansas team that I remember. Marquette is 8. Oregon is 9. I mean, there's some good teams out there in the Big 10, the Big 12, et cetera, Big East. Connecticut, don't forget about UConn. They play today. They're ranked 11th in the country. But this SEC is just stacked. It's remarkable. I don't know that I've seen anything like it, honestly. Not even in the best days of the ACC, the Big 8, the Big 10. This is legit. I mean, look at this thing. They have 11 ranked teams. No, 10. 10 ranked teams. Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, Florida, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, all ranked. With the top 12 teams, the only ones not ranked in there, Vanderbilt, and they're 13-1 for crying out loud. So Georgia's 12-2. They're not ranked. I mean, it's going to be tough sledding, man. LSU, Missouri, Texas, and South Carolina, the bottom four, and they're all 11-3 with the exception of South Carolina at 10-4. Man, what a great league that is. Now, we're going to talk to Josh Schertz here in just a moment about the Atlantic 10, and SLU currently is in a three-way tie for first place in the league. They're 2-0, and they're going to be playing St. Bonaventure in a huge game coming up on Wednesday night that I think you need to attend. Make sure that you're there. St. Bonaventure's good. They're the best team in the league, 14-1, and considered to be the team to beat in the league right now. SLU's 9-6, 2-0 in the A10. We're going to hear from Josh Schertz coming up here just after this break at 10:30. We're going to get you a weather update at 10:30. Taking a look at the Big Ten, though, I know that Illinois fans have to feel great about their team, and they should. I think this is one of Brad Underwood's best teams, and I think they are way underrated. At 22, they went out and destroyed Oregon the other day, 109-77. That was a monster win for Illinois, a team that just cruised. Trey White had 20 points, 8 of 11 from the floor, but they had, count them, 6 players in double figures, did Illinois, with White leading the way with 20 points. Ben Hummerkaus, who transferred from Evansville, is a killer as well. He knocked down 4 threes and had 18 points. Kasparis Yakachonis had 16, and on it goes. This Illinois team, watch them today. They're going to play at Washington today at 3 o'clock. They are legit. Now, I say that, and Washington will knock them off today, but I'm telling you that Illinois is a team to watch for sure. Ranked number 22. And the Big Ten's got some teams. I mean, Michigan State, UCLA, Purdue, Oregon, and Illinois are all ranked, but Oregon's the only one in the top 10 at 9. They aren't even close to this SEC group. I mean, it's unbelievable. It really is. Let me just, while we have you for college basketball, tell you about some other games that are going on. This is what's happening in local action today. Southern Illinois at Illinois State at 3. I mentioned Illinois at Washington at 3. And then yesterday, Tennessee Martin beat Southeast Missouri State 66-63. SIUE, I watched highlights of them. They're a good defensive squad. They beat Lindenwood 58-47, and Bradley knocked off Missouri State 69-60. I know that seems like a ho-hum win for Bradley, but that's not a bad outing there for Conzo Martin and Missouri State in what is easily the best team in the Valley, I think, in Bradley. Let's do this. We're going to set up the rest of the show for you. Josh Schertz coming up after this break. 10:45, we'll break down the St. Louis Blues, who lost yesterday to Columbus 6-4. At 11:30, John Mozeliak, the Cardinals president of baseball operations. At 11:45, Bernie Miklasz. We have football picks to make at the start of the 11 o'clock hour, and we have weather updates from Scott Jagow, including right now.
From the KMOX Storm Center, the Highway Patrol is strongly urging people to stay home and only travel if absolutely necessary. Conditions are treacherous right now with snow, significant wind gusts, and low visibility. A tractor's trailer slid off I-64 on the Illinois side of the Poplar Street Bridge. Now an update from Lambert Airport Director Rhonda Hamdenbrugge.
The runways have remained open, not all of them, but operational at least. And the airlines did a lot of pre-canceling last night, so customers were aware. We put the notice out that all of the airlines had allowed customers to rebook early, so we did see a fairly significant wave of customers who were leaving today who booked on Friday and Saturday.
The number of outages is increasing. Right now we have 2,000 in the Illinois side, and in Missouri about 3,300. There is ice forming on trees and power lines. The winter storm warning remains in effect until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Temperatures not getting out of the 20s today. Actually, the low tonight will be 19. We have blowing snow and low visibility downtown right now, 25 degrees. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here with a quick listening tip for you. If you miss Fox Across America or any of your other Fox News favorites, do not worry. I got you covered. You can stream previously aired shows with Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app. So if you're busy work days, it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the news. Listen to your Fox shows on your time with Odyssey. To get started, just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio. That's Odyssey, Audacy. I'm spelling it out in case you're a little slow like me.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Royal Banks of Missouri is your community bank with locations throughout St. Louis, St. Charles, Northeast Missouri, Granite City, and Jerseyville, Illinois. A bank branch is not far away. Royal Banks brings in experienced staff and products and services designed to meet your professional and personal financial needs. Investing in our communities, one client at a time. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal opportunity lender. Looking for a new home or to refinance your current mortgage? Royal Banks of Missouri wants to be your home buying partner. With a local staff that will guide you through the process, Royal Banks is an experienced mortgage lender that you can trust. There's still time to lock in on a low rate. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC and equal opportunity lender.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio. It is great to be along with you. Let's take a listen to this.
Whoa, 12 on the shot clock. Back to Robbie. Bang, you got another one. Oh, Robbie Avila.
The movement, remember the movement. Five
players touched it.
5-man basketball, remember?
Timeout, St. Joe's.
Get on your feet.
Timeout, St. Joe's. This is the crowd.
Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. with the call. Inject that call into my veins. I love that stuff. This is our Billiken Report. It's sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri. The head coach of the Billikens is Josh Schertz. I heard them play that for you on the postgame show after your win over St. Joseph's. What a fun call. What a fun moment that was for the Billikens.
Yeah, great possession. Even better call. There's a lot of cool things about St. Louis basketball. I don't know if there's anything cooler than having Rammer and Earl calling the games and just how knowledgeable they are, how passionate they are, and reason both guys are Hall of Famers. They're just incredible to deal with, and like I said, their passion, their knowledge is incredible.
There is no doubt. I mean, I've learned so much from Bob Ramsey through the years, listening to him call games here on KMOX and beyond. And Earl Austin Jr. is also, as you mentioned, a Hall of Famer, Missouri Sports Hall of Famer. He's in every gym. He's been in every gym in this city times 100, and he knows basketball inside and out. And to hear his enthusiasm about your play right there and your offense, that's just a little bit of what we're going to see down the road, I think. You are starting to click there. That is Indiana State 2023-24 basketball right there, and you've carried it into St. Louis.
Yeah, we're starting to. Well, I think look, anybody who really enjoys basketball, I think whether you're a fan or media, they appreciate guys playing exceptionally hard and guys playing together on both ends of the floor. And when you're playing as hard as you can, and guys are leaving it out there, and guys are doing it as a team, that excites anybody who loves basketball and loves sports. So that was cool to see. But we're making progress. I think. We're understanding on both ends of the floor, the level of togetherness needed, how we want to play, our identity, what it needs to be, not just offensively, but defensively. And so, sometimes those things, I think I said it a while back, sometimes it happens early. Sometimes it happens, later on in the year, middle of the year. And sometimes, it never happens for teams. So, we're turning it on in terms of, understanding who we are, our function, how we want to play on both ends. Now we just got to keep going to work and getting better, because this league gives you no respite. So it's, you just got to get ready for the next one, and we got to stay humble and, and continue to improve on a daily basis, but certainly a lot of progress here the last couple of weeks.
Nothing creates energy like good defense. And there's no doubt about it that you have been playing that a lot better. When your team is playing its very best defensively, what does that look like? What do you preach to your team? What do you want to see?
Well, I think, it's funny because we always, even in Indiana State, everybody talked about our offense, but, we were the number one defense in the Missouri Valley last year. And the year before, we were number 2 going in the final 2 games and wound up finishing 4th. And going back to my time at LMU, it's impossible to be good offensively if you're bad defensively, I think, because your ability to turn people over, your ability to get stops and run and get cross matches, and everything's predicated on your ability to do it on the defensive end at a high level. So I'll start with that. But defense, to me, when you're looking at it, it's we talk a lot about invisible plays, right? Like so much of defense is subtlety and nuance that fans and media aren't going to give a whole lot of attention to, but it's what drives winning and what drives great defense. So playing with unbelievable energy, the effort and physicality required. And how connected you are. Defense is about flying around, covering for each other, communicating at a high level. It's all those things put together, but a lot of it goes unnoticed because no one's going to be like, man, your ball pressure was unbelievable tonight. That really drove the game. Or your ability to cancel a ball screen, or getting back below the ball in transition and into your shrink spots and loading the ball and keeping them out of transition, or rotation box out. So I could go over 100 things that probably for most fans escape, and they don't get any box score validation. But all those things are the invisible plays that drive winning. And, and to do that, you got to have guys that are committed to winning and guys that are committed to team success. And that's got to be super important, because you're not going to get that love from, outside. It's all internal in terms of what it does to drive winning.
I was reading about your game, and I watched, I was at the Herman Trophy banquet. So I actually heard that call that I just played earlier live on my drive home. I'm like, oh baby, I got to turn on ESPN too. I want to see this for myself. Crowd looked good. Uniforms look good. The basketball looks good and all that stuff. But you look at the big picture of this thing, and you see that you have starters that are grinding it out. They are working. And, I know a lot of people, I was reading about the St. Joseph's game, and some people were pointing to the bench minutes and the depth. Mm-hmm. I remember your teams at Indiana State not going much deeper than 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. You found the right combination right now. And also you've dealt with some health issues on your team. Have you found what you like right now?
Yeah, I think, look, it's funny, everybody worries about, I think that's one of the more overrated things is how much, how many minutes guys are playing. I mean, there's a lot of different variances, of course, on a team. My job is to win the game in front of me. I'm not thinking about, 10 games from now or what's going to happen a year from now or 2 years from now or whatever. Like, I get paid to win the game in front of me and do what I think is best to help drive winning for that team. And so, I'd love to have, I do think our starting 5 has kind of formed itself, and those guys are playing at a high level right now. They're each kind of understanding their function, and they're each bringing and adding value to winning. and impacting winning in significant ways. We got to have, and I'd like to have better bench performance. Last year we played 6 guys mainly, Bledson being the 6th, and he was 6th man of the year in the league. And our benches, a lot of it has just been, Kellen, who was a starter and one of our best players first 4 games. We obviously starting on November 25th. Really has had very limited game practice time because of the cramping, then the hip flexor. So much like, people think, okay, he's back, he's going to be back to himself. Well, he's not. And it does take a while. It's just like it's taken Robbie a while to come back from a couple months out. And Robbie's just now, to me, looking like, what he was last year and a better version of that. I think we got to find it with some of these young guys, Max Bakar, Amari McCautry, Killian Brokoff, Dylan Warlick, these young guys. We have to get some of them stepping up and playing well enough to be able to absorb minutes. Because when you go into a game like we did against St. Joe's, our bench, they didn't play many minutes, which is true. I think they played, maybe 20 minutes combined, but they were also a combined minus 26. So, you gotta, if you come in as a bench guy, you don't have to move the needle, but the needle has to at least stay neutral. And you got to defend, and you got to rebound, you got to take care of the ball. And then the rest of it comes when you do those things. And, we got some young guys that are figuring it out, the level, the physicality. But certainly we're not going to just rest guys to rest guys. And it's my job to make sure that if we have to, that those guys are in condition to play, 40 minutes, and the output of, Isaiah and Gibson and Kobe and Kalu and Robbie in terms of what they're doing really on both ends of the floor for a lot of those guys is remarkable. But certainly it's also my job to try to develop some bench depth, and I've got to do that. And hopefully Kellen, as he, gets back and kind of gets his legs under him, and we address this cramping deal. I think the hip flexor, he looks okay. It's just he's rusty out of rhythm, but Kellen certainly would be a guy that's capable of playing major minutes for us, whether that's as a starter off the bench.
One more thing before we go, because we have a weather update coming here at 10:45. It has been, as you know, a very stormy day here in St. Louis, but 2 things coming. One, Monday night, your first coach's show at Humphreys. That's going to be a blast with you and Bob Ramsey. And then secondly, a huge game on Wednesday against St. Bonaventure. Just huge. I mean, your schedule has been challenging to start here, going back and forth. Now you get a monster game against a team that is so far the cream of the crop in the A-10.
Yeah, looking forward to the coach's show with Rammer. Should be a lot of fun, and hopefully get to see a bunch of Billikens out there and fans out there, and certainly tuned in. And then, St. Bonaventure 14-1. I think they've won 8 or 9 in a row at the moment. Big home win over VCU, went to Fordham, took care of business. This league is a monster. You can't pick your head up at all. You just put your head down, you prepare as well as you can, you go out, and then you try to compete and attack it and stack possession by possession, and then learn from it, grow from it, and then get ready for your next one. Anytime you pick your head up and look around, you're going to get beat. We have a monster one, like you said, on Wednesday, and then it gets no easier. We fly out and we play VCU, who's one of the best teams in the country, and at Richmond, who's also undefeated in the league. So it's one after another. We just got to keep our heads down, keep working, keep getting better, and and then attack these challenges and do it as a team. I'm
just getting word that the coach's show has been canceled, and that's probably a smart move because of the weather. I just got word from your staff on that. So the coach's show canceled, but that game's certainly not. It's going to be a big one on Wednesday when SLU takes on St. Bonaventure. Pack that place at Chaffetz Arena, folks. There's nothing like a great college basketball atmosphere, and you could feel it coming out of the radio, coming out of the television, that St. Louis is the place to be. So congratulations on the 2 A-10 wins, flying out of the gate against Fordham and St. Joseph's. Good luck against St. Bonaventure. We appreciate you joining us on KMOX very much.
Thanks for having me on, Tom. We'll talk soon. Take care, everybody. Be safe out there.
Be well. There's Josh Schertz, the head coach of the Billikens. Billiken Report, sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri. Now it's time for another weather update.
From the KMOX Storm Center, the Highway Patrol is strongly urging people to stay home and only travel if absolutely necessary. Conditions are treacherous right now. There's blowing snow, significant wind gusts, and low visibility. MoDOT says more than 1,000 plow trucks will be working throughout the storm.
Chief Safety and Operations Officer Becky Almarat says the agency has about 1,500 snow trucks working with crews doing 12-hour shifts until roads are in mostly clear condition. Almarat says drivers need to avoid traveling until conditions improve, hopefully sometime on Monday, and the travel for the rest of the weekend and the next few days should be limited only to emergencies. Julie Carpenter, KMOX News.
Metrolink and Metrobus routes are reporting 20 to 30-minute delays. Lambert had dozens of cancellations this morning. We will keep you posted on all of that throughout the day with these updates. The winter storm warning in effect until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Things should start tapering off around midnight, and the snow has taken a little bit of a break right now, but we do have some flurries and 25 degrees downtown. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Ever think of leaf raking as making dinner for your plants? Well, it's ultimately going to be compost anyway, right? So for Country Club quality plants next spring, why don't you serve some STA certified compost this fall from St. Louis Composting? Top dressing your lawn and garden with compost now rebuilds nutritional balance in depleted soil, increases soil aeration, and improves the drought resistance of plants. Visit one of our locations on both sides of the river for an array of STA-certified compost, soil, or mulch products, available by the bag or by the truckload. It's the healthy, all-natural diet for your garden and lawn. St. Louis Composting is stocked to meet all of your fall, lawn, and gardening needs. Visit the location closest to you or order online at stlcompost.com. That's stlcompost.com. Or call 636-861-3344. St. Louis Composting, enriching the soil naturally since 1992.
When can you retire? When should you tap your 401k? Will you have enough money to live on? We all have retirement questions that stress us out, but Steve All can help answer those questions and more so that you'll feel confident about the next phase of your life.
My job is to sit down with people and actually figure out what their wishes, hopes, and dreams are. It's about a standard of living, not an amount of money. It's how they want to live in retirement.
Join Steve every Saturday morning at 10 for the All Financial Hour right here on KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
We're back on the show. The Blues had two games that were a lot different. The 4-0 win at home against Ottawa on Friday, and then last night they dropped one to Columbus 6-4. The Blues did get goals out of Braden Shen, Jordan Kyrou, Cam Fowler. In fact, they each had a goal and an assist. Colton Parayko also scored. It was a wild third period. There were 8 goals scored, including 5 in a 3-minute, 40-second span. But the Blues did not have enough. An empty netter sealed it with 1:03 to go. And the Blues, coming off a 4-0 win over Ottawa, couldn't find their skating legs, I guess, and trailed 1-0 after the first period, outshot 16-7, and they end up losing this one by a final of 6-4. Let's hear from Blues coach Jim Montgomery in our Blues breakdown. Here he is visiting with reporters after the Yeah, Colton Parayko, he's talking about right there, one of the great people in our community and certainly a terrific player. 700 games for him and a goal. Let's listen in. Here is Colton Parayko. That is Blues defenseman Colton Parayko, 700 games and a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues. And the hope, of course, is that the Blues can get back there. Wayne Gretzky got my attention in the second intermission of that Winter Classic when he told the guys, this team is chasing a Stanley Cup. Along those lines. I wish I had that clip, but he did tell them that he believed that the team was getting aggressive and they were trying to put together a team that can win the cup. I mean, that's everybody's goal, but I think the Blues a little maybe further ahead in terms of that mindset than people thought. The Blues do have, as mentioned there, some big games coming at Minnesota on Tuesday, and then a homestand starting the 9th. Anaheim, Columbus, and Calgary will be here. They go to Utah and Vegas. Then they host Vegas and Dallas and Vancouver before wrapping up the month at Colorado. The Blues currently are a game over 500, and they are 2 points out of a playoff spot in the Western Conference. They are 19, 18, and 4, and they have 42 points. Vancouver is the number 2 wildcard team in the West with 44. The Blues would have to jump over Calgary with 43 points, and as you can see, they are on the schedule. Those teams are. It's going to get interesting as this thing rolls along here in the Western Conference and the Blues stay afloat. What kind of things do they try to do? Do they add any personnel down the stretch? And who emerges, especially these young players? Bolduc is somebody to watch. Certainly Neighbors has established himself. I really love, obviously, what we see out of Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. Holloway especially has been fun, kind of reminds me of Jeff Courtnall back in the day, a real pest who can hit, who can score, who's got tons of speed, and just great enthusiasm for playing the game of hockey. I love hearing his post-game interviews as well. Always seems to have a smile on his face talking about what he did that night. The Blues, I think they are still a fun draw. I went to the game before they left for the Winter Classic. It was on this Sunday, actually. The last Sunday, they played that 2:00 game. I went over there and watched the game, and it was just a great party. I mean, the place is packed to the rafters. The fans are into it. It is still a great place to be. And the Blues are certainly trying to get back and recapture that magic from 5 years ago when they went all the way. Coming up next hour, we will run through the NFL picks, our college football playoff picks. We'll have John Mozeliak. We'll have Bernie Miklasz. We'll have weather updates. Please do not go out on the roads. It is rough out there, to say the least, with this winter storm that has spread ice and snow all over the St. Louis region. We'll get much more from Scott Jagow during the 11 o'clock news. Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stiefel Sports Studio. We'll be back after the 11 o'clock news.
We sell truckloads of siding, windows, doors, and decking. My name is Julius Krasanik, and I'm celebrating 52 years in this industry. Our company is Wholesale Siding Depot. We have over 200 years of combined siding, window, door, and decking knowledge from our seasoned customer service group. My grandson Elijah says,
"Are you kidding me?"
With just one click to WSDepot.com, that's WSDepot.com, you will find the best brands in the business like Anderson, CertainTeed, Viwinco, Masonite, Provia, Trex, TimberTech, and others. We also offer a great selection of styles and colors that are durable and energy-saving, all at everyday wholesale pricing. No silly window ads that say buy 2 windows, get 2 free, or 50% off labor. We also have a free contractor referral service to take care of your installation needs. Keep it local, family, and professional. Please visit our website, WSDepot.com. That's WSDepot.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. It's the biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year. Leave all the 2024 dirt behind with the new year. Out the door 24. Start your freshest year yet and clean 2024 right out of your home. Most importantly, it's the perfect time to talk about all of our services to set the stage for who we are, what makes us unique, and talk about our cleaning services for 2025. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. 24% off all of our services. That's the best deal we've ever had. 24% off of all of our cleaning services. At Zero Res, we have a 4.9 rating on Google with over 5,900 reviews. The Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee. Easy to get what you pay for. Yes, Zero Res absolutely stands behind every single cleaning. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com. Again, 24% off all cleaning services for the month of January. Spell it forwards or backwards, it spells the same, Zero Res.
My best friend Jenny came over for coffee, said it's cold enough in here to play hockey. Well, my furnace broke and it's already late. Call Jerry Kelly cause they're open till 8, JerryKelly.com. They'll be here quick and have you feeling good, JerryKelly.com. Cause your furnace will be running like it should. They're certified technicians, I've been told, will help you when it's hot and help you when it's cold, JerryKelly.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on, JerryKelly.com.
Nobody wants a surprise in their jelly donut. It's toothpaste? That's because the middle is the most important part. At Graybar, we're at the middle of electrical and datacom jobs across the country, connecting installers, facility managers, and business owners with smart solutions for their most challenging projects, which means stocking and delivering crucial products on time and on budget with no surprises, thanks to our nationwide logistics network. Yep, Graybar does that.
KMOX KECK HD2 St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals. KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Peter King, going to Kansas City. We'll take it nice and slow because the city is in the middle of a huge snow and ice storm that stretches for hundreds of miles. KCTV's Mark Paulos.
We're seeing trucks, four-wheel drive trucks, spinning out. We've seen cars spin out going the other way, the wrong direction on the highways. These roads, super slick.
National Weather Service meteorologist Frank Pereira.
We're looking at amounts on the order of 18 to 14 inches from portions of the Central Plains, Mid-Mississippi Valley, all the way over to the Appalachians. And with time, we're expecting several inches, perhaps upwards of around a foot, that could impact portions of the Mid-Atlantic.
FlightAware says more than 1,000 U.S. flights have been canceled today. 16-year-old Owen Bowers was born decades after Jimmy Carter left office, but he's one of thousands who've gone to the Carter Center in Atlanta to pay respects to the 39th president.
He's special to me because he's from Georgia, and he can prove that anyone can do whatever they want in their life. And he tackled a lot of issues people think he couldn't handle.
I'm Jim Crisul in Atlanta. As many as 2,000 people per hour will be able to pay their respects as the body of former President Jimmy Carter lies in repose at the Carter Presidential Center until early Tuesday morning. It will then be flown to Washington, D.C. for an official state funeral on Thursday.
Want to drive into Manhattan? It'll cost you more to go below 60th Street because of new congestion pricing toll that started today. The idea is to give drivers incentive to use mass transit instead, but this New Yorker isn't buying it.
New Yorkers are paying too much money already, to travel, just for everything, taxes and everything. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
It'll cost drivers $9 to drive below 60th Street during peak hours. The president-elect tells House Republicans he wants a large bill that includes his main legislative agenda before Democrats can filibuster it. Newly elected Indiana Republican Senator Jim Banks tells CNN State of the Union Republicans have to work fast.
We have to get this done, secure the border, make our military focused on winning and fighting wars and strong again, make the tax cuts on working families permanent, the Trump agenda, get that done as quickly as we can.
Israeli negotiators back in Qatar for new talks after negotiations and a hostage ceasefire deal stalled for more than a week and a half. CBS's Linda Gradstein.
There are still significant differences between Israel and Hamas on issues including a continued Israeli presence in parts of Gaza and how quickly hostages will be released. Thousands of Israelis demonstrated in support of a deal as Hamas released a video showing one of the female Israeli soldiers who remains in captivity.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 11:03, we have some blowing snow and 25 degrees downtown at the Arch. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story, the latest weather models are showing intense snowfall rates along the I-70 corridor. Forecasters say they could approach or exceed 1 inch per hour. Also, the number of power outages continues to climb. Ameren reporting now 2,000 customers without service in Illinois. Ameren, Missouri, up to 3,500. Josh McAtee is emergency coordinator for Farmington. His advice if the power does go out:
they should try to keep their house warm. I would recommend that they not open windows or doors if they don't have to. Try to keep as much of the heat in the house as they can, and then contact who their power service is.
MoDOT officials say for the remainder of this weekend, travel should be limited to emergencies only, especially in the northern and central parts of Missouri.
Chief Safety and Operations Officer Becky Almaroth says the blizzard warning that has been issued for the northwestern and west central areas of the state could make it nearly impossible to drive in those areas. Almaroth warns the hazardous weather is not only making it difficult for drivers, it will also delay response times for MoDOT crews and emergency responders. She says drivers need to avoid traveling until conditions improve, hopefully sometime on Monday. Governor Mike Parson has issued an executive order that has activated the Missouri National Guard to assist with response efforts. Julie Carpenter, KMOX News.
As far as the roads go, stay home is the message from Dallas Thompson from the Highway Patrol.
If you do have to get out, we understand there's emergencies, things that we have to do, but just plan ahead. Make sure we check that MoDOT traveler map for road conditions. And you can also follow the Highway Patrol Troop C on our X accounts. We're going to try to keep that updated as much as we can for serious issues and road closures.
And Lambert Airport Director Rhonda Hamnebrugge gives us an update on what's been happening this morning. Snow isn't a big problem. It's the ice.
The runways have remained open, not all of them, but operational at least. And the airlines did a lot of pre-canceling last night, so customers were aware. We put the notice out that all of the airlines had allowed customers to rebook early, so we did see a fairly significant wave of customers who were leaving today who booked on Friday and Saturday.
The winter storm warning is in effect until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. The accumulations should be between 3 and 6 on average, but 6 to 10 north, as I mentioned, along the I-70 corridor, could be up to a foot. The temperature will be 19 tonight, 27 tomorrow, 24 on Tuesday. We should have some sun, but very cold for the rest of the week. Right now, we have 24 degrees in St. Peters, 25 in Florissant, 25 with some flurries downtown. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
All right, just to add on to that, again, be careful on the roads. I have been on the roads this morning. It is not advisable. These roads are snow-covered, ice-covered everywhere. And I mean every part of St. Louis right now. So just use extra caution. If you happen to be on the road right now and you're listening, please, as you get to your destination, go as slow as you possibly can. Let's not spin out. Thank goodness that this was on a Sunday and not a Monday with rush hour traffic and everybody coming back from the holiday. That would have been a mess. So it's Sunday. Unless you absolutely must be out, please stay in and enjoy sports on a Sunday morning and everything else that we have to offer. On the show today, we have John Mozeliak coming at 11:30, and we have Bernie Miklasz at 11:45, and much more in between, including some football picks. And let's get to that right now.
And a key block by the left guard, Tom Ackerman. And right here, let's go downstairs to Mark.
Marv, if you remember that big run Robert Holcomb had on the first drive, one of the guys responsible on help busting him loose was Tom Ackerman.
Tom Ackerman up front, and this is a unit that has played very well. A good night for Eddie George. 21 carries, 74 yards. The left guard, Tom Ackerman, with the block that set him free. It's a first down.
The great offensive lineman, Tom Ackerman, right there for the Tennessee Titans. And we thank everybody for joining us on Sports on a Sunday morning. It's our final regular season week of NFL picks. Then we'll get into the playoffs. This is a tricky week always. This is why fantasy leagues are done. If your fantasy team is still playing, you're in the wrong league. They should never have a game in week 18 ever, because most of these games are featuring backups, kind of like the preseason. But there are still lines out there, and there's still action, and we are going to take advantage. By the way, while I have you, you know what's fun to play? Underdog. That Underdog app's the real deal. I won and lost. I mean, I probably should have been smarter with some of my picks, but I took a little gamble a little earlier. But anyway, that Underdog app is awesome, and use promo code TOM when you use it. But let me get to the picks. Carolina at Atlanta. That is going on today at noon. Atlanta needs it. They're trying to win the NFC South. They are a game behind Tampa Bay in the standings. Neither team has clinched. Atlanta is a 9-point favorite in this one. I will take them -9. Washington at Dallas. Two teams that don't need it. Washington's already in the playoffs. Dallas is out. The Commanders are a 6.5-point favorite at Dallas, and I'm going to take them. If it was over 7, I probably wouldn't. 6.5, I could see him winning by a touchdown. Dallas is not very good, and I'd be very curious what the future holds for that coaching staff and Coach Mike McCarthy. Chicago at Green Bay, always a rivalry. Bears are 4-12. Green Bay is in the playoffs, a 10-point favorite at Lambeau. I think 10's too many. Bears, as bad as they are, play with some pride and keep this close. Chicago +10. Houston at Tennessee, a 2.5-point favorite are the Titans. I'll go ahead and take them at home, -2.5. Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Boy, the Colts were disappointing this year. I thought they'd be a possible playoff team. 3.5-point favorite at home against the Jaguars. I will take them, however, -3.5. Buffalo at New England. The Bills are in. They have clinched the number 2 seed in the AFC. Therefore, the spread is pretty slim. It's 3. The Patriots are a 3-point dog at home against the Bills. I'm still going to take Buffalo -3. Giants at Philadelphia. Boy, the Giants are just horrendous, Drew. I'm sorry about that. That's your team. Eagles just a 3-point favorite. And Drew, I'm going to do you a favor. I like Giants +3 today because the Eagles are going to take all of their time off. They don't need this game like Minnesota and Detroit do. We'll get to it in just a moment. New Orleans and Tampa Bay. The Bucks at 9-7. A 14.5-point favorite at home against the Saints. That hook, that half point is a tough one to swallow, I got to say. But I'm going to do it anyway because the Saints have been, you talk about horrendous. Holy smokes. They got annihilated 34-0 at Green Bay, and then the Raiders beat them 25-10. Jeez. Go with Tampa Bay -14.5. I hate that spread, though. Kansas City and Denver. So this is the interesting one because the Denver Broncos need to win to make the playoffs, and the Bengals are hoping that the Chiefs can figure out a way to beat them. They also need the Dolphins to lose to the Jets for the Bengals to get in. The Broncos are 11.5-point favorites at home against the Chiefs today, with the Chiefs resting Patrick Mahomes and others. I'm going to go Chiefs +11.5, just for fun. Okay. Chargers at Vegas. Chargers are in, and they look awfully good. But again, this is basically rest time for these teams. Vegas is 6.5-point dog at home against the Chargers. I'm going to go Chargers -6.5. I don't really think Vegas is any good at 4-12. Seattle at the Rams. You know what I love about this one? You know who's playing for the Rams today? Cody Schrader. That Cody Schrader. I'm fired up for the St. Louis Kid, for the Missouri Tiger. And the Rams are 7.5-point dogs today against Seattle. Rams don't need the game. Seattle's out anyway. I'm going to go Rams +7.5. Miami at the Jets is a pick 'em. Give me Jets. Jets, Jets. Come on, Jets. I'm rooting for the Bengals, if you didn't know. To get in, because I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. San Francisco at Arizona. Arizona, a 4.5-point favorite. I really don't like these games because they don't mean anything, you know? I mean, how are you supposed to pick them? But we do our best around here, and that's why there's a spread. And I will take the 49ers +4.5. And then the showdown tonight. Minnesota at Detroit. Now, Minnesota is a 2.5-point underdog in this one. Minnesota has won 9 in a row. The Lions need it, and I was very impressed with the Lions' win over the 49ers, how good they looked, how banged up they are. They are a mess right now, but they're finding ways, and they're still 14-2, and they still have a high-powered offense. I think this is a back-and-forth game. I think it's going to be highly entertaining. And the reason they're even favored is because they're playing at home. You get that automatic 3 points, really, in terms of spread when you're playing at home. But Minnesota is the better team top to bottom and is playing well. That said, give me Lions -2.5 to find a little extra magic, win the home game in front of a raucous crowd, and get that number 1 seed in the NFC. I don't see them advancing the Super Bowl, even though I picked them to do so. But we'll see. I'll take Detroit -2.5. We'll roll with it. Have some fun. College football playoff picks before we hear from Scott Jagow, who's going to come back in studio. Drew, make sure that he is, I know he knows that, but he's coming back for a weather update here momentarily. Here are my college football playoff picks. You ready? Here we go. College football playoff picks coming. They are Notre Dame -2 against Penn State in the Orange Bowl. Give me the Irish all day. I don't think they're going to lose this game. In fact, I think they're going to win this by a touchdown, maybe more. They are playing out of their minds as good as Penn State is. I like Notre Dame -2 in this game. I had them beating Georgia. I have them beating Penn State. Ohio State -6. Thank goodness for that. If it was 7, I would hate it. 6, I'll take. Ohio State by a touchdown. Give me Ohio State -6 against Texas, as those two teams hook up in the Cotton Bowl for the right to get to the national championship. It's 11:15. We'll have much more coming up. Right now, a weather update from Scott Jagow.
From the KMOX Storm Center, the latest models are showing intense snowfall rates along the I-70 corridor. Forecasters say rates could approach or exceed 1 inch per hour. The number of outages continues to climb. Ackerman is now reporting almost 4,000 in Missouri. That is going up by the minute, about 2,000 in Illinois. Now an update from the airport's director, Rhonda Homnabrugi, about what's going on there.
United did cancel most of their operation. Alaska's operated normal. It's a mixed bag with the airlines, but it is a bit challenging just because of the ice that's coming down. So most of the day, they're updating us pretty much every hour or every 2 hours on their plans throughout the afternoon.
The winter storm warning remains in effect until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, probably around midnight, according to our AccuWeather meteorologist. Things should taper off. It will turn mostly to snow this afternoon. Some places are already there, and those accumulations continue to climb, probably downtown around 3 inches right now. And then we're having a temperature of 19 overnight, 27 for tomorrow. Right now, we have some flurries and 25 downtown. I'm Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
What is dedication?
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is Darion. We call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Cold weather is coming. Is your garage door ready? Cardinal Cowboy here. 30 years ago, when I woke up from a coma and was lying in the hospital bed, I felt stuck. I know you don't want the feeling of being stuck out in the cold because of a faulty garage door. Renner has you covered. Whether it's repairs or replacements or a new opener from brands like Delden, Amar, or LiftMaster, Renner will keep your door working like a charm. Check that one off your to-do list.
RENNER, RENNER.
Want to retire in 5 years or less? You can do it, just like Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa.
So we started passively. It was on vacation is when we realized we really need to take the plunge and be more active in this. Just because I'm an educator, I wanted to really know what I was doing. So it was just education on my part is really big. And I'm like, well, I could do that.
Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
We are in the studio. It's nice and warm in here. It is frigid outside, just over my right shoulder, and some folks might be able to see that. I'll turn the camera here. You can't. It's just sort of blinding light. But yeah, it's white as snow can be. It is just coming down, and not too heavy right now downtown, but it was a little earlier, and it is just icy and frigid and not a great place to be driving. So just be careful today. Reading some comments off of our live stream. A lot of people might not know that we have that live stream going. As you can see, those of you watching right now on YouTube, Facebook, X, wherever you may be watching, we have a good one going, and Drew Young sets it up just like he sets up the Gas House Gang every day during the week at noon. These live streams are fun. We get comments along the way. Peter Nydorf, God bless you, Peter. Good to hear from you. He said, I'm not driving anywhere today or Monday morning. Be safe and well. You too, Peter. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Kelly said, man, Tom, great day for Illini basketball. Be safe. You too, Kelly. And I really like this Illinois team. I talked about them earlier in the show. I talked about them this morning with Scott Jagow. This team playing Washington today is legit. They went out and smoked Oregon. I don't know if a lot of people saw that because it was a late game, 9:00 tip. That team is the real deal, man. Josh, good morning to you. Josh Betts checking in from northern Iowa territory. I bet it's frigid up there right now. What about William? So William says KMOX does not broadcast Mizzou games, but their coaches are regular guests. Why are the Illinois coaches not afforded the opportunity to speak on the show? William, I appreciate the comment on YouTube. Let me correct a few things. We don't have Mizzou's coaches on a regular basis. We have Eli Drinkowitz twice a season. I had him twice during the football season. I have not had Dennis Gates on the show. I like Dennis Gates, but we mostly do SLU. So we are a SLU partner. So they are on every show at 10:30 is SLU's time slot. And Josh Schertz more often than not has that to himself at 10:30. And we appreciate them as a broadcast partner. So we will always have Josh Schertz in that spot, sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri, as you know. But the Illinois coaches, Brad Underwood was on Chris and Amy, if I'm not mistaken, before the Bragging Rights game. I have had Brian Barnhart, the play-by-play voice of Illinois, on the show routinely, especially after big wins or prior to big games. I really like Underwood. Brett Bielema, I don't know as well, but I appreciate him and respect what they've been able to do. I have nothing against Illinois at all. And as a matter of fact, I go back to Bruce Weber is still a friend, and we were very close during those times. I would go to Illinois and cover games and enjoyed the heck out of going to Assembly Hall, now the State Farm Center. I am curious, though, Illinois coverage does not get, and it's a legitimate beef by Illinois fans, it does not get equal coverage as Mizzou in this town. In fact, the Post-Dispatch, and I love the Post-Dispatch, I read it every day. I'm a newspaper hound. But they don't have an Illinois beat writer anymore. And, their Illinois stories get pushed back to pages 5, 6, and 7. And it's just a reality. Mizzou they have a beat writer for Mizzou. He's very good, Eli Hoff. Their columns focus mostly on Mizzou, sometimes on SLU. But Mizzou gets pretty heavy coverage, and so does SLU. They both have beat writers. I don't know why that is. Why don't we do more Illinois? I include them in all of my scoreboard updates. But I think it's a legitimate criticism by Illinois fans. We were talking about an upper-level Big Ten team that should get more attention. So I will take that into consideration, William, and I will start, especially now that we're in the heart of college basketball season, spending more time with Illinois guests. And if we can get Underwood to come on a regular basis, I would like to do that. It's harder during baseball, football season because we have baseball going. We got Ollie Marmol. We've got the Blues do something on our show every week. We have, Battlehawks will get going here. There's a lot of stuff you're throwing together all at once, but Illinois should still be prominently placed, and we will find a spot for them. Typically, we have Bernie Miklasz at 11:45, John Mozeliak at 11:30. 11:15 is Lutz Fan and Steel during most of the year because city season is so long. 10:45 is Blues. 10:30 is Schertz or SLU, and 10:15 is whatever we want it to be, usually a headliner. That's where we could put Illinois. We could also, we have Ollie Marmol there during baseball season, and occasionally we have a Cardinals guest at 10:15. So I just want to let you know kind of how we do those things. 52 days till spring training, says TP. Thank you very much for that comment. There was another one. Oh, Kevin says silly question mark. I guess it is. I think he's saying, I guess it is. In the past several St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Cardinals, and SLU have stunk. I think Kevin was typing a little fast there. Kevin's referring to me saying that the question from Craig on Twitter earlier, asking me to ask John Mozeliak, all these things, and being very negative towards Mozeliak, just didn't seem like the professional, appropriate line of questioning that we're going to ask Mo here coming up. I thought it was kind of a silly line of questioning. What isn't silly is passion for the team. I mean, everybody understands that the Cardinals were not good enough. They were really not good in 23, and last year they weren't near what the expectations were. So, they recognize that. They heard the fans loud and clear, and they are resetting what they're doing. And it's a relief to some. It's too late for a lot of people, and people are frustrated. And I understand that. I totally get that. It's not enough. The Cardinals have set the standard. They won 11 world championships. So here they go trying to repair this thing. And I do believe they'll be back to being the machine that they once were in their farm system once they repair all of this and get back to streamlining these young players to success. I believe they will get there. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get a weather update from Scott Jagow as this winter storm bears down on us. And then John Mozeliak himself is going to join us back in his 11:30 time slot. We're very happy he's back. We're going to talk to the president of baseball operations next, Bernie Miklasz, at 11:45. Don't go anywhere. Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Question: are you a maintain it before it breaks person, or a wait for a problem person? Get ahead of the game, or just see what happens type? Well, if you're the practical, forward-thinking sort, then get this. For a limited time, the rock-solid, fix-it-right guys at Jerry Kelly will come tune up and inspect your furnace for just $98. It's normally $143, and that's very little money for a lot of peace of mind. Check it out now at JerryKelly.com.
This is Debbie Monterey for the Photo Pros and Stephen Weiss. Many of us remember his old company, Creve Core Camera. The Photo Pros out near Westport, they're a full-service camera store. They carry Nikon, Olympus, flashes, studio equipments, tripods, filters, memory cards, lots of used equipment, and they take trades. Their employees will listen to your needs and your budget, and they'll suggest the right equipment for you, all with no pressure. Just Google the Photo Pros in St. Louis or call 314-567-3456.
In the U.S., there are about 60 million adults 65 and older. And last year, nearly 1 million of them were hospitalized due to flu, COVID, or RSV. That's nearly 1 million people who plan to go visit family or see friends, but ended up in the hospital instead. So get this season's vaccines and don't let flu, COVID, or RSV make you just another number.
Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
From the KMOX Storm Center, the I-55 southbound ramp to US 67 is currently blocked due to an incident involving 2 tractor trailers and several passenger cars. 55 southbound at 67, all lanes closed, right and left exit closed, both shoulders also blocked. There is also a crash, I-70 eastbound before Missouri 370. The left 2 lanes are closed. 3 lanes are open there. The latest weather models are showing intense snowfall along the I-70 corridor right now. Rates could approach or exceed 1 inch per hour through the afternoon. The number of power outages also climbing. Ameren now reporting in Missouri 4,000, most of those south of the city. And the National Weather Service has upgraded the storm warning in the northwestern and western central parts of the state to a blizzard warning. Visibility very low. Road conditions have deteriorated significantly, and the Highway Patrol is still asking people to stay home unless it's an emergency. Right now, we have snow and 25 downtown. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Scott, thank you very much for that update. Welcome back downtown St. Louis. It is frigid, snowy, and icy down here. Be careful out there. We're joined by the Cardinals president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak. Hope you're safe and secure wherever you are, sir. How are you?
I'm well. I'm here in St. Louis, thinking about 6 weeks from now being in Jupiter, having warm thoughts.
That's right. Absolutely. Can't wait to get things going down there. What do you think of your team? I mean, obviously there's still some things that you could be doing here in the next 6 weeks, but when you foresee your roster, what kind of a team do you have for Jupiter?
Well, I still think we got to remind ourselves there is plenty of off season left. I think 15, 20 years ago, you tried to have everything completed before the holidays. I think where the game's moved, where the industry's moved is January is still a very important part of your off season. So have to keep reminding everyone a lot of time left to see what this roster is going to shake out. But on a very high level, I think it's about creating opportunity for some of these young players and see really what we have. And, time will tell what we really look like over the next 6 weeks. But then you also have 6 weeks of spring training. So, you add it all up, it's 3 months before opening day, really. And hopefully we end up having a product we're excited about.
A lot of focus on those young players is on Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker, and we'll get to them in just a minute. But I also think about Lars Nootbaar, and not that he hasn't gotten an opportunity, but the injury bug really has gotten him and hasn't allowed him to have a full season. What I haven't really asked you about Lars in a while. What do you think when you see Lars Nootbaar in 2025?
So, yeah, I think internally we discuss this a lot as well, because obviously we do believe he's a very talented player. But one of the things that we've always talked about, even on this show, is the ability to go pole to pole. I think a lot of times we focus on starting pitchers and the ability to make 30 starts, but there's also that ability to play in 150 games and be someone that you can count on a regular basis. And I think that's something that Lars really has to focus on, figuring out a way to keep his body healthy, a way to keep himself on the field. And then there's the performance factor as well, right? In the sense of if you get that opportunity, what do you do with it? And so I think for him, that's definitely a big question mark in terms of what his career arc will ultimately look like. But, on just the surface level, I really do believe he's got the talent to be a special player in this league.
And when it comes to Jordan Walker, we've discussed him at length. My understanding is that he's been working, as Nolan Gorman has as well, very hard this offseason. Brant Brown, we had Ollie Marmol on the show, said Brant Brown's been down there working with those guys. Some good indications here so far?
Yeah, I believe so. I haven't had a lot of updates over the holiday break, but I will say that the guys that we want doing things are doing things. And I think that's good news. And we do have a handful of players that have been utilizing our Jupiter complex, which is great. January 2nd, we reopened it. But in terms of getting people down there, I think anybody that reports early will benefit from that. And hopefully everybody's taking advantage of it. But I definitely agree that Gorman, Walker, there's a lot online this year in terms of making those adjustments and being able to go out and produce day in and day out.
And not to get too sidetracked here, but talking about this Jupiter complex, this is it, right? You're still on track to start your full-scale renovations at the end of this spring training?
Yeah, that's correct. I was down there for a few days a couple weeks ago, and right now the outfield wall that is being installed is going to be a little shorter for hitters, in the gaps because we're going to move the bullpens to the outside of the outfield wall. And so those changes are underway. I'm hopeful those will be completed here in the next month. But then the major renovation begins really right around April 4th.
And all that internal space, the complex, the cages, the offices, everything gets a lift, right? The clubhouse, everything.
Everything. So there'll be a new performance center that will be built. There'll be a new batting cage that will be built. Of course, by doing so, that frees up some space other places. So we'll have more meeting space. I think the coaches will appreciate that. And I also feel like, have a commercial grade kitchen installed there. So we can eliminate the food truck in the future.
Yeah, the food truck has been a hit, but no doubt about it. The nutrition and performance are a big part of what you do. John Mozeliak hasn't been with us for the last few weeks. You and I were in agreement. It's good to take some time off during the holidays, but I also thought that the market wouldn't necessarily move quickly through the holidays, and it turned out to be true. As you said, January becomes very important. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Nolan Arenado. You did say during the winter meetings your intention was to move him, and just is there anything that you can share about how things are going just overall, about his market, about the trade market in general?
Not really. I guess the update would be it's been very quiet. Obviously if we have the ability to find him a place that he desires, that's something we're going to try to do. But, if not, then he'll have to be a part of our club moving forward. And I think he understands that. I think, again, we have a lot of time left. We'll see how things shake out over the next 3 to 6 weeks, but a lot of time, and just have to remind ourselves that there is that time.
Do you have a desire, let's say, I mean, I don't want to speak in absolutes here, but I know that if something didn't come to fruition there, you still are in the mode of reducing salary. Would that be accurate to say? Would you be looking at all options in terms of trying to move some salary?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, we've already reduced our payroll to some level. And as we look forward, we'll continue to see what we could possibly do to do that. But, trying to balance that with also trying to still be competitive is, that's the chore.
Sure. I know a lot of people are asking me about Roki Sasaki. They're asking me about all kinds of players. I got to remind folks that, when it comes to John Mozeliak, we do not talk about free agents, so we don't talk about any of that kind of stuff. But I know I'm getting a lot of questions. That is fair to say, right? If you're looking at any free agent additions or anything like that on the outside, you're not able to tell us about that.
That's correct. And it's not a Mo rule. It's just a league rule.
Yeah, it is.
Now, a lot of things you guys read about or hear about are simply just generated rumors that can come. Now, could teams strategically place something out there from time to time? I'm sure that's true. But ultimately, commenting on free agencies or trades historically is not in our best interest.
No, you can't do that. Of course, we understand that. But I do like to reiterate that to the fan base, of course. And, you have, I think when it comes to pitching, some very interesting names out there. I mean, I know I talk a lot about the position players, and we do as well when it comes to pathways, but I'm very curious about McGreevy, Graceffo, Quinn Matthews, and what their future holds in terms of rotation and beyond, not to mention Matthew Liberatore, who seems to have a pretty decent pathway coming his way when it comes to the bullpen. It's interesting.
It is. I definitely feel like McGreevy, the way he pitched when he was in the big leagues was very eye-opening. I think it reflected the success he was having at AAA. I think some of the adjustments he's making against left-hand hitters was something that's been impressive. So I do feel like his time to get that opportunity at the big leagues is coming. And so hopefully we can find a place for him, whether it's in the rotation or in the bullpen, but certainly has earned an opportunity to pitch in the big leagues. You mentioned Liberatore. Obviously, he's an exciting arm. He did a really good job for us out of the bullpen. I could imagine he could either see himself in the rotation, so he'll definitely get stretched out in camp. But I could also imagine seeing him as someone that could have an impactful role in the bullpen. So I think time will tell on him. The good news is he's got an electric arm, and he's shown to be pretty resilient. So either way how he's used, I think he's going to have a very important role the Cardinals in 2025. And then somebody like a Graceffo, obviously, I think it was sort of an up and down year for him, both AAA to big leagues and back. But I also think from a performance standpoint, there were times where he looked brilliant, and other times it was just inconsistent. So it wouldn't shock me to see him maybe have more of an impact out of the bullpen moving forward. But he's certainly going to get an opportunity to stretch out and see what we have.
He's a tough kid. I really like him, spending the last two caravans with him on a personal level. I love his competitiveness and his outlook on sports in general. And so I think he's a nice piece for you. And then finally, I am curious. And again, a lot of this has to do with what the roster looks like when you enter spring training, but I'll be interested to see what Sajaci's role is. He is a player. I don't think there's any doubt about that. His bat to ball skills, not to mention his probably learning ability defensively, Mo.
Well, he uses a lot of flexibility from a defensive standpoint, which is great. It's always nice to have that little Swiss Army knife on your roster. I think the big thing for him offensively is, he's going to have to understand his strike zone, understand how to be selective, and can't be afraid to take a walk from time to time. So, yes, it will be fun to see how all that comes together, but we definitely think he has a lot of upside, and certainly looking forward to seeing how he used his offseason and where he's at physically when we see him in February.
Well, we'll look forward to staying in touch with you, and I know that you're always great about joining us on the show. Thank you so much for doing so. Stay warm today. We'll be in Jupiter before you know it.
Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, John Mozeliak, Cardinals president of baseball operations, rejoining Sports on a Sunday morning. It's great to hear from him. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get a weather update from Scott Jagow, and then we will process all of this with Bernie Miklasz. He joins us live at 11:45 on KMOX.
Attention, Missouri baby boomers. The Give 5 program wants to connect you with volunteer opportunities that fit your skills and passions. Learn how you can lend a helping hand to those who need it most. It's easy. Just visit give5program.com to sign up for a free class near you. Go to give5program.com and learn how you can make a difference in your life too. Brought to you by Missouri Area Agencies on Aging and the Department of Health and Senior Services.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
KMOX and the St. Louis Cardinals are thrilled that the 28th Winter Warm-Up is back at Busch Stadium and Ballpark Village, January 18th to 20th. Admission passes and player autograph tickets are on sale now. Team up with Cardinals Care to support St. Louis area children by purchasing your tickets now. It's one of the best events of the year, with family-friendly activities including tours of the Cardinals Clubhouse and admission to the world-class Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum. Get more info at KMOX.com/events.
The American Cancer Society calls upon Black women from all walks of life to join Voices of Black Women, a groundbreaking research study led by the American Cancer Society. Voices of Black Women is designed to better understand why and how cancer and other health conditions impact Black women. Go to voices.cancer.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're leaving for work, but the garage door won't open. Is it the opener? Is the spring broken? Now you're late and your car is trapped. Well, don't panic. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is here with same-day emergency service. They won't leave you stuck. The original Red Ribbon Garage Door Company, trusted in St. Louis since 1926. Call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
From the KMOX Storm Center, the latest on the roads, lots of accidents and problems. I-55 southbound to 67 currently blocked due to an incident involving 2 tractor trailers and several passenger cars. That's 55 southbound at 67, all lanes closed. 55 north before Merrimack Bottom, 4 left lanes closed. I-70 westbound past Hanley, the right lane is closed. And there's also a crash I-70 eastbound before Missouri 370. That has the 2 lanes in the left shut down. Now the latest from the airport.
United did cancel most of their operation. Alaska's operated normal. It's a mixed bag with the airlines, but it is a bit challenging just because of the ice that's coming down. So most of the day, they're updating us pretty much every hour or every 2 hours on their plans throughout the afternoon.
We have had less snow right now downtown, but along the 70 corridor, north of that, where we've had the most snowfall, it is still about an inch an hour. We'll keep you posted this afternoon on what's going on with the roads. The Highway Patrol, again, urging people, please do not get on the roads unless it's an emergency. Right now, we have light snow in 25 downtown. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
There's a thumbs up for Kelly, one of our viewers. Kelly, thank you for all your great comments and all the comments, man. I'm reading them. I can see them right here in front of me. Some of them I actually don't want Drew to put up there. There are a couple of rough ones, not towards me. Thank you, Scott Jagow. Thank you, Bernie Miklasz, for joining us. His visits are sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an American Standard heating and air conditioning deal. You need that heating today, my brother.
No doubt about it. So I can tell you with 100% certainty that the Miklasz home is feeling nice and warm thanks to Saliga Heating and Cooling.
That a baby.
As always.
I love that. I had a circuit breaker go out yesterday that was linked to my furnace. I'm like, oh boy. So I had to quit. I took quick action and I had an electrician replace a breaker. Now I'm pretty good at plumbing. I'm pretty good with electric and furnace and things that break down in the house, but I couldn't figure this one out. So we had to move some things around in our breaker box to get this thing done. But our house is nice and toasty. We didn't lose any heat whatsoever.
You heard me chuckle because I was going to ask you. I wasn't laughing at you, but I was going to ask you. I said, "Are you Tom the handyman type, or you have to call people?" See, I have to call people.
Well, I put in a new sink for a new faucet for my mother-in-law yesterday. So I did. I'm
impressed.
I said that'll be $500. No, yeah, we got that done. Okay. So on that topic, let's reconstruct. Let's be handymen when it comes to the Cardinals. I just had John Mozeliak on. I thought he was very good. Of course, there's a lot of unknown right now, but he left it open. There are some moves to be made. He was honest about Arenado, that it's been very quiet. I think the possibility is there, Bernie, that he stays. A possibility that he stays. If that takes place, where do the Cardinals reduce salary? What do they do?
Well, first of all, I think to just throw this in, I think most people know this already, but just to reset, as you suggested, I think the Arenado future is going to be determined largely by what happens with Alex Bregman. For example, the Red Sox want Alex Bregman. If they don't get him, I could see them pivoting to Arenado. Derek Gould, among others, has reported that the Cardinals have stayed in touch with the Red Sox or vice versa. So, but yeah, as the days and the weeks go by, I think there's less of a chance he'll get traded. But there's still a scenario or two out there that could still happen. So, but if they have to reduce salary because Arenado is going to be with them, you look at the pitching staff. If you can offload Steven Matz and most of his $12.5 million salary, that would be one way to go. You could trade Eric Fetty. I think you could get a good return for him. Walk your starting pitcher at a 3.30 ERA last year, really good pitcher. He'll be making $7.5 million next season. So they could subtract some there. I don't think they'll find a taker for Miles Michaelis and what he makes, and he's got a no trade clause. I think Sonny Gray really wants to stay in St. Louis, and he's got a no trade clause. So after that, I mean, does this influence their decision on what to do with Ryan Helsley? If they get a great offer from another team, do they decide, well, he'll make $7 or $8 million in arbitration? We can get something for him now. His value is really high, something in return that we will really like. So it pains us to trade him, but it's probably best. So they could save some money that way too, but there aren't a lot of obvious candidates other than the people that I just mentioned.
It's interesting, isn't it? And as the Cardinals move forward, I mean, do you think that this team, do you see a scenario where they're a wild card contender? I don't know if they're a division contender, but can they make a postseason push, do you think?
Well, listen, and you know me, man, I play it down the middle from the terms of, just being really straightforward. There are so many variables that go into that, and we don't have time to get into it now, but we can talk about it tomorrow on the Gas House Gang a little bit. But if you look at the Cardinals last season, they won that Mother's Day game in Milwaukee, and from that point on, they really had an excellent record. And I know, listen, man, all games count, so it's not like you can just blow off their really poor start. But we saw them play good baseball, maybe more than we recognized at the time, and that's number one. And number two, I find it really hard to believe that they could be anywhere close to as bad with runners in scoring position, their batting performance, as they were last year. And without boring the audience or you, I have some numbers on that. The Cardinals, actually with runners in scoring position, actually hit the ball really hard. They hit a lot of line drives. They hit a lot of shots that, the defense caught. And people don't want to hear that, but I'm just telling you, with better batted ball luck with runners in scoring position, and they're overdue for that, they should be a lot better in that area next season. And if offense is still the biggest concern, I could see reasons why this offense would take off a bit. It'd be tough to be worse than they were last year. So, but it's hard to say this because we don't know whether, as we said, Arenado will be back. And if he's not back, does that mean they subtract from their pitching staff? They subtract a starting pitcher or two? Do they trade Helsley? And that could all obviously affect the course of the season. So, but the offense will be a big key for sure, because you just can't really go very far with an offense that was as lousy as the one last season.
Bernie, just a few minutes left. Let me close with this, and we can talk about Mizzou basketball, SLU basketball, Blues hockey, Illinois basketball, all these things that are going on. It's so much fun to bounce around to all these things. But I do like Sunday nights, even without an NFL team here anymore. I love Sunday night football. It's just a great way to close the weekend. It's the one game that I actually do pay attention to, and tonight is an absolute dandy. I mean, the Vikings at the Lions is awesome. So 14-2, champion gets home field throughout the NFC playoffs. Who you like tonight?
I've been going back and forth the entire time. And the other day, I was leaning towards Minnesota, but I've been reading some stuff, and Detroit is really, really banged up, as we all know. They've had so many injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And they're much more vulnerable to giving up a lot of points than they were for most of the season. But I look at the line, for example, Detroit is a 3-point favorite at home. I have a system where, I kind of grade like point spreads, things like that. And this, betting on Detroit or Detroit just winning the game actually looks like a really good value bet. And I just think Detroit at home is going to be really tough to beat. I mean, it's like trying to get past a bunch of attack dogs at the gate, It's and I think the thing to watch though is Minnesota's defense. And listen, we all know that Minnesota with their quarterback and Justin Jefferson have had a great year. But I think the Minnesota defense is what makes this thing potentially special. Brian Flores, with his blitz packages and the way he shifts his players around, the quarterback never knows where the pressure is going to come from. That's what I would watch tonight. But I'm going to give Detroit the respect of just not thinking they'll lose at home. But this one could go either way, to say the least.
It'll be a great one. Fire in the fireplace, adult beverage. I'm talking about myself, of course. That's what I'll be doing, enjoying that one, and making sure that I pay attention to the next Bernie Show post on YouTube, because it's an absolute must subscribe. And then, of course, tomorrow, the four of us will be getting together for the Gas House Gang on the KMOX Sports YouTube page. So it'll be great. Bernie, have a great rest of your Sunday. Thanks, as always, for carving out some time for us on KMOX.
I love it, Tom. Everybody stay warm, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Gas House Gang, noon Central Time in St. Louis.
The news is next.
We can get more sleep, we can get more sun, and we can get more exercise. But the one thing that we can't get more of is time. It's time to eliminate the one phrase